Shooting football is a weird sport. No one's telling us what to shoot. We are on our own out there and we're trying to figure things out. You don't want to be the guy who misses the touchdown.
That's Dom the DP, a longtime freelance cinematographer who's best known for his work shooting for NFL films. He's captured 16 Super Bowls, worked across 20 NFL seasons, and recently won an Emmy for his work on Netflix's quarterback series.
The creativity in a Super Bowl becomes a little bit more different because you're trying to find the different things that no one else is seeing.
In this episode, Dom takes us inside what it actually takes to capture football at the highest level. From shooting game-winning touchdowns to understanding where to be, what to look for, and how to tell a story of a game in real time.
If I can get a quote from a coach talking to a quarterback that no one else got, that becomes way more seen than maybe a spiraling touchdown.
We also dive into Dom's career behind the camera, talk about the pressure of being called back as a freelancer, and why being great at the job is only part of what creates longevity in this industry.
There is no contract. It is an email on Sunday night, hey, can you go to Seattle next week? I always think about it that way, like it could end tomorrow.
Okay, now the rules.
Yes. Can I tell you the rules? And then you tell me if I'm wrong.
Go for it.
I got to pick it up off the table.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do one hand crack. And I'm not going to prep it right now.
Yep.
I could.
He's ready, dude. He's ready.
Dude, I sent Braden like my Diet Cokes.
Oh my gosh.
Back in the day.
Dude, that was a good one, man. A little bit of spillage. Okay, show me what you got.
Dude, look at that dent. Look at the dent.
Dude.
That's got to be
Crater.
1.2.
3.1. What do you got over here?
Oh, dude.
Terrible. It's just so slow.
See,
I know. It's,
you know,
you got to get better at this.
5-1. You would think. You would think.
Like, my wife's like, are you practicing? I'm like, no,
Cheers.
I haven't done it in a couple of years.
Cheers. Come on,
Thank you.
man.
The
Let's
Ollie
go.
Pop. Dude,
Okay.
look at that. I can't even drink it. There's so many dents in it.
All right, there
All right.
we go. You got
Ollie
it
Pop
fixed?
for the win, yeah.
Okay, Dom, you've shot 16 Super Bowls.
Yes.
When you walk into the entrance of an NFL stadium, what's going through your mind for one of the biggest days in sports in the world?
Whew, man, there's a lot. The funny thing about going to a Super Bowl, you're there like 6 hours early. It's different than any other game of the year. You are there so early, and then you're there the day before. Like, there's a lot of like lead up to it just to even get to the game, just like the players have to deal with. You do the same as a camera person. And so I don't really like lock in until like players start coming out in their pads. Like, that's when I know, okay, now it's like a normal game for me. It's the hype and pageantry, all that stuff leading up to it. Like, when they start warming up in their pads, that's when I like feel like I could lock in and like, okay, now we're going to shoot some football. And when you get into the postseason, the crews get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now we have the biggest crew at the Super Bowl. And so your assignments get more narrow and narrower and narrower. And so I have a very narrow assignment on those bigger games. And that's when I just got to focus on doing that. And it actually, for me, becomes a little bit less stressful than having to be the only person on the field like I would be maybe for a normal season game, regular season game. But the Super Bowl, hyper focused on what I'm going to be doing and what assignment I have.
And so are you tracking the sun with an app to kind of know where you want to be? Or is it more so like, I have an idea of this guy's pregame routine or these two players that I'm supposed to focus on? Like, walk us through that.
If we're talking Super Bowl, again, because there's so many people, like I have my little plot of land and I stay on that plot of land.
Oh, okay. So you guys are all in just this is my unit for the day.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And there's people who are assigned maybe to shoot high speed. There's people who shoot sync speed, 23.976. Then I shoot 40 frames a second. You know, like we all have our different frame rate assignments and we stick to those. And so I know the 120 guys is going to get the killer, Sam Darnold slow motion warm up shot. I don't need to get that, but could I get with my longer lens on a hi-hat, a cool angle of him and his coach in the foreground, like rack focusing? You're looking, the creativity in a Super Bowl becomes a little bit more different because you're trying to find the different things that no one else is seeing, as opposed to a regular season game. So we can talk about a regular season game because then I'm usually by myself, if it's not a big game.
Yeah, let's go into that because that's so interesting. When you're shooting regular season, is it still NFL films typically?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what is your assignment? What is that? What does a game day look like shooting a regular season? And then you brought up how the people working on a Super Bowl, it expands a lot more where you're really hyper-focused. I also had no idea. Like, why would you shoot 40 frames? What is that used for specifically?
The 40 frame, it used to be 48 frames when we were shooting film. And what they noticed with these newer like Jumbotrons, is that the flicker is harder to get rid of at 48 than it is at 40. So if you're at a night game in a stadium that has prominent jumbotrons and they're going to be in some of my like wide postcard shots, they just said stick to 40 and go with it. But traditionally we would shoot 48, 60, 120. And then of course you have your 24 frames, and then you have MOS coverage, and especially on the Alexa 35, when you shoot 24 frames flat, there's no audio file. When you shoot 23.976, now they're looking for an audio file, and there better be an audio file with my sound person. So that's what we call sync sound. And so if I'm shooting sync sound, meaning I have a sound person with me and a boom mic and maybe a player or coach is mic'd up, we're shooting 23.976 all day long.
I remember in college, our boss told us we had to study you guys' videos. That was how I kind of learned. I would like slow them down and be like, okay, where are they standing? Like, what's the angle here? Because I think at least when I was coming up, effects were kind of like the whole thing in college.
Yeah.
Like people were doing these crazy effects and stuff. And I remember we were trying to learn them, which was cool and made us like better editors. But I feel like we all lacked shooting. And then we were watching your guys' stuff to study. And I remember being like, fuck, man, our stuff does not look like this. How can we try to emulate it on a much smaller scale?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm maybe a college student or I get a first job in the NFL or the NBA or something like that, what do I need to think about when I come to the arena for the first time? Like, you're by yourself. How do I get the best possible shots and make something beautiful?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's coming up with a game plan for yourself.
So do you have a written note? I know you've shot 1,000 games, so it's a little different. But like, go back to when you were first starting. Like, what would you tell that person?
Yeah, you're at that point. I'm so early in the game. I'm just trying not to mess up, and there's a lot to mess up, right? Especially when there's a lot counting on you. Not only are we trying to capture every play, we're also shooting film in 2007, which was my first year. So there's a whole film loading thing that, of course, a film loader would hand me a mag, but so there's that. There's a lot of like, don't mess up, and just give, like, even from the VP at the time when he told me, he's like, Dom, head to toe on the quarterback, let him drop back, let him like fall back in that frame, and so he's gonna throw it. The frame. So give him room to throw, give him room to run. Don't be dead center on him. Kind of rule of thirds-ish. That's all he wanted, was just head to toe quarterback. Anybody in the world could shoot head to toe quarterback, but can you follow that ball where it's going to go?
Dude.
Dude, and
you guys shoot it so tight. You shoot so tight. It's crazy.
And that comes with just reps, right?
Yeah.
Shooting football is a weird sport. There's 22 people in full pads. That does not happen on the street corner every day. Like, it's very hard to get reps, like quality reps shooting football. Basketball, we could go right now down the street and go shoot some basketball.
Basketball is way easier to film than football.
And it's just a smaller court. There's not a lot of like cost of entry.
Yeah.
And so when you get 22 people playing football, I can do it once a week, maybe. And so years and years of that, then we can shoot tighter and tighter and tighter, because the lens can get pretty tight, the ones that we shoot on. But you don't want to mess up. You don't want to be the guy who misses the touchdown because you're like, oh, I want to get a cool shot. Well, stay head to toe, and then work your way in every year.
Yeah, you don't want to braid in it.
Yeah.
That's what they say, dude, in the NFL,
Yeah.
You missed the shot.
They have it on a
braided
postcard, dude.
You braided it, dude. You talking about shooting film back in the day kind of reminds me of a DJ before digital. It's like you bring your whole thing of vinyls and you're switching out vinyls for every song.
Yeah.
You're like, you got to switch out the film. I do want to go back though, because I would love to hear difference between shooting regular season game, being one-man band doing that. Are you still working with sound and all that kind of stuff?
So like the first decade of my career, I'm about to hit season 20 for the NFL, which is crazy.
Like
but those first,
Tom Brady.
Low-key.
Yeah, like GOAT status, I guess. You have the first 10 years, which is me shooting on film, 48 frames a second. We call that a ground shooter. And so that is a zoom lens, a film camera, 4 magazines, 8 rolls of film, and a film loader with you. And then there's one other dude who's up in the press box doing the same thing, but just not shooting. He's shooting 32 frames a second, which is another interesting frame rate. And so 48 frame, 32 frame, that's a typical 2007 coverage of the Browns versus Raiders. Like, we're getting 2 cameras. Now, if it's Patriots, Niners, and they're both kind of coming up, we're maybe going to get 5 crews, top, a ground, a sync sound crew with a sound person, a high speed 120 frame shooter, maybe on a hi-hat, and a Weasel camera.
When
there's all these
this is so interesting. When did high speed come into play
That's
for NFL?
1962. Like that's
Holy
the bread and
shit.
butter.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
The tracking of a football started way early on in the company's career, and then people throughout the decades have perfected it. Primarily, Donnie Marks he retired in 2017, but was the guy, the GOAT, the Tom Brady, the LeBron of following a football from the hand of a quarterback to the receiver in the end zone and watching that spiral come right, and it's tack sharp from the time it leaves the quarterback to gets to the end zone.
Because you're not only zooming out, but you're also racking focus.
Yes. And he's doing it with, if I handed you a camera that Donnie Mark started with, you'd be like, what is this? It's like World War II stuff, you know? And then of course that gets better and better and better. Now we have zoom lenses. You can use a servo if you want. You can use all hand. So most of us still zoom with our thumb and focus with like our ring finger and pinky finger. And that's how we do it.
And is it just second nature to you at this point?
Yeah, and that lens, so there's a whole nother thing. That lens that we shoot with, a 24 by now, when I started, it was a 22 by lens. So these are lenses that you would see on your local news cameraman's camera. And it's made for a 2/3 inch sensor camera, which is what the local news was shot on for decades. They take those lenses, and now that we shoot on Super 35 sensors, we adapt them. And so now we're taking an adapter that's like $5,000 to adapt that B4 mount lens to a PL mount camera and expand that little image circle to a bigger image circle. So when you do that, everything is not as like shallow. So it's not like we're shooting with like these big cinema. We also have cinema glass too, but the traditional B4 lens on our camera, it helps us with focus. So it's like 2.5 stops better if you're trying to keep things in focus. So no, it's not really shallow. It's not real pretty, but it helps us follow action. And when you're shooting so quickly, you don't really notice that it's like, wait, is that an F11? Is that, like,
yeah.
Is that what is the primary stop that you guys are typically at?
Yeah, those lenses, as we've been told, because they've ran them through all these lens calibration tests, are the sharpest at like a 5/6/8 split.
Oh, interesting.
Which add 2.5 stops to that, theoretically on the depth of field side. So now it's kind of like shooting at 11.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you can't miss.
Exactly. So yes, but then when you shoot these other assignments, like we could talk about what a Weasel camera person is, but what Weasel does is all around the stadium getting pretty art. And now we're using 85 to 300 cinema zooms. We're using 400 millimeter prime Canon lenses. We're using 180 ultra primes.
Wow.
So that's where we get the art, but we're not expected to follow the football at that position. We're expected to get the cleats and the mud and the rain and the sweat and the fans and the tear, like everything else but the game. And that's when you get to play with the cinema glass. But yes, I don't think we go back to the question of when we go to a stadium, if I'm by myself.
Yeah. I love how nerdy we're getting. This is fascinating.
You have, of course, that mentality to go head to toe when you're early on in your career, and every year you get a little bit closer. And then, can I get on the backlight side of the sideline that's going to have the best backlight? My first season, I shot a Seahawk game. Actually, my very first game was Seahawks-Bucks in Seattle, 2007, week 1. And great touchdown, came right at me. And I just got an email, a note from the VPs like, great stuff, but try and shoot on the backlit side because the fans are just nuclear at that point.
Yeah, there's all
so they're playing, especially in Seattle. It's such a tall stadium, and that sun kind of creeps around. So you get one side of the stands is just nuclear in the sun, like very, very hot, and then it's all shady players. So the film holds, like it holds the exposure 15 something stops, but it just gives the colorists a little bit more. Like it'd be better if everybody's backlit and I'm shooting into shaded fans. So now I want to find that sideline, right? And each stadium is traditionally in the NFL a north to south stadium. So I'm going to be probably on the east side of the stadium.
Where would you want me to go if I was like under you and you're like, hey, I want you to, we're covering like the gameplay of action. Like we walk in, it's the pregame. What would you be telling me to do if it was my first day working with you?
Yeah, if you had the camera.
If I had the camera and you were like coaching me on like
Dom and Fig.
Yeah, Dom and Fig, Shake and Bake.
MJ Pippen.
Yes.
Yeah, where would we be going?
Yeah,
where
I mean, really, like what I've noticed is that player shots without pads on
don't look sick.
don't don't go anywhere. Like I've never seen a show where you get someone warming up with their resistance bands and their street clothes, like, so it starts when they put their pads on, which is usually about an hour before kickoff. When they come out full pads, now we're going to throw passes and run routes and do our little huddles. So that's what we're going to wait for, is that 1 hour before kickoff, they have their pads. And now we're going to say, who's the superstars of this game? Do we have Myles Garrett? Do we have a storyline? Is Devontae Adams coming back to Green Bay to play his old team? Like, what are the storylines that the world is talking about? And can we get some storytelling shot of Devontae Adams walking past his old coach or something, like, and knowing like where he's going to go, like where does the Rams come out at a away game in Green Bay, and where do they run to, and what side of the field do they warm up on? These are things you learn over time, but your first couple of games, it's a shit show. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Of the people that shoot the NFL, how many would you say are diehard football fans, and how big of a fan are you of football in general? I
don't think you can shoot NFL football the way that we do without, like, you got to love it first.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a special sport. It's not for everybody, but the people that work with me, they like love it. And I loved it. And I grew up. So what happens is that you grew up a fan of something.
Yes.
The 49ers in my instance, because I grew up in Central California and my dad was a 49er fan. So I'm going to be a 49er fan. And then as you start to work with the 49ers, and now you work with the Rams and the Chargers and the Seahawks, now you become a West Coast fan. because if the West Coast teams do good, I get to work more. So the more home field advantages we have in Seattle and San Francisco and Los Angeles and Arizona, like I can work more. So I become fans of all of the teams west of the Mississippi.
I love that.
Because I'm a West Coast shooter.
Yeah.
Like, and the East Coast has a lot of teams. I think have 7 teams, from Denver on. And it's not a lot, but when they are doing well, like they have the last couple of years, it's great for business, and when the Seahawks win the Super Bowl, growing up a 49er fan, you'd think I'd be devastated. I loved it. I love watching a West Coast team take it all. Yeah. I'm just like a homer that way,
That's awesome.
But yeah, you got to be a fan.
And you find that being a fan, it helps because you understand the storyline, you understand the players, the relationships. Like if you're in the weeds of it and you're a fan of the sport, you feel like that might lean towards knowing what shots to get even more.
And I think too, I'm not like a diehard sports talk fan, which is where you can get a lot of this information, but we do get an email every week, that from the producers at NFL Films that say, hey, this is what to look out for. Matt.
I'm dying. Hold up.
COVID,
yeah,
dude.
we'll wait.
Dude, I'm dying. Okay, I'm back.
Let me take a sip. We will get notes from producers at NFL Films. Hey, Matthew Stafford is 200 yards away from breaking the all-time whatever record. So these are things to look out for.
I loved getting those emails. Those are helpful. Not for NFL, but for like basketball. It'd be like, this is the thing. I'm like, that makes my life easy.
With all the hype and hoopla around every game, you're like, well, what am I supposed to like? What can I do? And so those are very helpful to like dial in, and people coming back to play their former team, or this guy's coming off of injury. This will be his first game back, blah, blah, blah. So they want ISOs of those players. And those might just be as simple as I'll have my pregame checklist in my mind, looking at that list. Cool. Okay. 17, 9, 33. Like I'll get ISOs of them in case I didn't get a shot of them during the game. There's something they can use in the edit.
Okay. So you shoot, if you're shooting regular season, you're starting coverage about an hour before because typically stuff before that won't get used.
Yes.
But Super Bowl, you're starting 5 hours even earlier.
Yeah. There's definitely people shooting earlier at the Super Bowl. There's Weasel camera that might jump on a train and get a cool shot coming across. There was like light rail transit right in front of Levi Stadium, so you got to get that shot. But that's their assignment. Sometimes I like shooting at stadiums I'm not used to shooting at. So like this last year, they sent me to Tampa Bay. I haven't been to Tampa Bay since 2007. So it had been a while since I've been there. And then you start looking at the architecture of the building and you're like, because I don't normally shoot there, it's not my normal stadium. Like I start thinking outside the box, like, could I grab my 11 to 16 wide and just kind of post up here, get fans walking by? Like you try and find some of those moments as you're entering the stadium, like what would look cool. And some of that gets lost when you shoot at the same stadium every week because it becomes like monotonous and what's already been shot. What's already in the can, what's already in the archive. And so,
they could reuse like a.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's the way to do it.
I mean,
I would tag all my shit, dude. I'd be like, oh, that fan shot, I'm gonna steal that for the playoff video, dude.
and so imagine having an archive from
But
1962.
see, you guys got archivists, man.
Dude.
See, that's the vibe.
62 to 2026, and it's all in the building in Mount Laurel, New Jersey.
Wow.
And most of it is on film. And so you have reels of film in a very, very chilly room that they constantly scan. As new scanners come out, now they're scanning in 2K, now they're scanning in 4K, and they're scanning every roll. And this is like all the footage. Like everything that I shot from 2007 to 2013 is all on film. It's in the vault. It's on negative. We can hold it up and we can look at each frame. And they don't throw it away. It's
That
there.
is so
It's so fascinating.
badass.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so now when we shoot there, it gets, of course, ingested every quarter. So every stadium has a really cool system that takes our cards, sends it right to New Jersey. And there's someone taking it in every quarter from every stadium and they're logging it.
Wow.
So now when a company wants a shot of their product, they can go right to the NFL and say, can I have a shot of Matthew Stafford drinking a Gatorade or whatever? And it's like, okay, cool. We have 67 instances of that in 2025. Which one do you want?
Oh my God.
And so everything is it's like the ultimate system of like archival stuff.
Have you seen the archive in person?
So the internship was the launch pad. And then that's when you're in the building working with the camera department, and then you see the film vault and you take the tour and
That's awesome.
you walk past all the Emmys.
Yeah, that's crazy. Once the game actually starts, where do you want to be on the field if we have a right-handed quarterback?
Yeah.
Where should someone be?
Yeah.
Like, what is the prime spot that I need to be crouching down to get my shot?
If it works out where the light, you're at an outdoor stadium and there's backlight, if you can be on the side that the sun is hitting you on, so they're in backlight and they are opening up to you. So they're taking the snap and now I'm shooting him this way and he's going to throw it that way because he's right-handed. That would be a perfect way to be behind the line of scrimmage and get him throwing the ball like that because he's looking at me. Or looking, his body's open.
And what if the sun's not being our friend? Then what do we got to do?
I still go. I go backlight over what I just described.
Oh,
so
okay.
Then left-handed quarterback, I'm still over there, but now his back's to me. Still interesting stuff to do, but it's not like if I had to pick because let's say I'm in a dome, no backlight situation, I can go anywhere I want.
But do you always, for the most part, want to see them opening up to see eyes?
Yes.
Okay.
There's other things that play in that too. There's like. A home sideline is a lot more congested than a visited sideline, like a visitor sideline. So when you're on the home sideline, you get a lot more riffraff and you got a lot more stuff to weave through when you're trying to get to the other side. So sometimes we favor that visitor sideline because it's not as congested, not as many carts, not as many reporters, not as many cables to trip over. Like, because when we go. Like, I don't want to miss a play, and so I try and time it where I can take a shot of the play. Boom, he gets tackled, couple seconds. And then if at that point everybody starts to move, I'll hold back. I'll wait a play because that's let the masses go. I'll get another shot from behind the line of scrimmage. And then once they do another play, then I'll go and I can beeline it to the other side without having to miss play. Because sometimes when everybody moves, it's hard to, you're going to miss a play. Because
it's
you're
like you're
stuck.
surfing.
Yeah.
Everyone's
You're in the
chasing.
lineup.
You're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay over here.
Yes.
No one's over here. I'm gonna catch a wave, and then
Yes. That's just years of experience, like waiting for the right time to move because you don't want to be stuck behind the cart.
Okay, so you told us about how you were not backlit first game,
Yes.
incredible shot.
Yes.
Have you worked your way up and had to essentially prove yourself to be able to have better or more interesting assignments? And how does that work?
Yeah.
Like, what are you assigned when you're first starting out? And then what is like the crown jewel? What are you trying to get to? You're like, oh, one day I'm going to shoot the hyper slow-mo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. You start like in 2007 when I started, it is 48 frame ground shooter. Have at it. Go. Shoot the game. Shoot every play. They don't tell you what to shoot. Just shoot every play and then try and tell the story of the game with your camera, knowing that there's another camera. And then, as you work your way up, now maybe you'll get an assignment. It took me like 10 years to like get a sound assignment with a sound person. And now we're shooting behind the benches and we're getting all the jubilation and the dejection of players when they come to the bench. And then okay, hey, maybe give you a long lens and put you up in the stands and put a mic on a coach, mic on a quarterback, mic on a receiver, and now just follow them the whole game. And so now I'm working my way up. So it's like 48 frames. Then you start getting like sync sound and mic'd up assignments. And then the holy grail is to shoot 120 frames at a Super Bowl, like game action. And that, I don't think it'll ever happen to me, because there's other things that I also enjoy shooting. I do love being able to hear and shooting a mic'd up player or having a sound person with me. Like I've been doing that more recently than the 48 frames standard ground shooter. But yeah, like we all, there's 3 or 4 currently with NFL Films: Steve Andrich, Ben Johnson, Austin Porter, even Hannah Epstein. She's a Weasel camera person, but she shoots all high speed and it's like so beautiful in art. So those are like, up here. And I don't like, maybe when I was younger, I'd strive to do that, but I know these people so well and they're so good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll sit on the bench with my sound person all day, every day, and get really cool sound cover. Because what I've noticed over the years is that as the NFL has all this access to the sound, that becomes way more seen than maybe a spiraling touchdown. If I can get a quote from a coach talking to a quarterback that no one else got, that's going to replay over and over and over, and you get more essentially runway with that than a pretty shot of one touchdown.
Do you guys all invest in the cameras for the most part, or is that a rarity that you bought an Alexa 35?
There's definitely a handful of us. We call them owner operators. I think I live in California. I'm pretty far away from New Jersey. There's some people, of course, who live on the East Coast who are close to the building. There's a handful in the building for people to use. It's not a requirement. But there's also people like me who are owner operators and can essentially rent back the equipment if they allow me to. And so, yeah, I would say maybe 40% owner operator, 60% use the equipment from NFL Films. It's all the same equipment. You just don't own it.
What's a go-to glass if you had, like, take your pick?
The one probably is the Fujinon 24 by with that glass adapter piece that,
When you say 24 by,
yes. Yeah, sorry.
what is that?
You don't want me to tell you. You should put it on the screen with the actual.
Sure.
It's like 24 by 7.8 millimeters. It's S-10. Like, it's some weird freaking. So we just go by the.
So it's not like a 24 to 70. It's
no,
different.
No. So it's like on the barrel. Go back to like the new shooter, dude. So on the barrel of that lens, it'll say 7.8 millimeters to 240 millimeters.
Oh, I see.
And that is pertaining to that little sensor. And so that little sensor, of course, that's an equivalent to that. But when you magnify those barrel markings on this adapter, now we're somewhere between a 25 millimeter and 450 millimeter. Same lens, just adding adapter, losing some light, gaining some depth of field. Same lens, but it's just different because you're shooting on a bigger sensor. There's a lot of math involved.
Yeah.
If you want to like rack your brain, I've tried to like get the specs on that adapter and what's the exact magnification percentage. It hurts my brain. It hurts because people say like, well, how far can you zoom? I'm like, I think it's around 450 mil.
Wow.
Like to be in the back line of the end zone, I can shoot a quarterback at the 40-yard line. Like,
and you don't like to use a servo. You like to use your thumb to zoom in.
Yeah. What I noticed is that I can be more, as you shoot in higher frame rates, it's a lot less. If I'm shooting higher frame rates, I can use my thumb because I can be jerkier because the frame rate slows it down.
Yeah.
120, 60, like if I'm snapping a zoom, it's not as jarring as when I'm at like 24 or 48. Like you'll see that jarring zoom out. And so when I'm shooting like a mic'd up assignment, I'm going to go servo because it'll just smooth things out. Especially if that quarterback's like, I'm on a hi-hat and the quarterback's walking from the sideline to the huddle. Like, I don't need to be like, I'm just like nice and smooth going right into as he's walking to the huddle. Then he says his little speech to the huddle, kind of widen, So I'll use a servo when I'm shooting mic'd up assignments. And then I'll go with the manual mode to shoot action.
Okay. Favorite shot you've gotten both of gameplay and then maybe a mic'd up moment that wasn't of the gameplay. Like, have you ever been shooting mic'd up and be like, I can't believe you just fucking said that.
Yeah, you get those moments definitely. You get some moments you're like, wow, they're gonna totally use this, and you get, wow, they're totally not gonna use it, because you got to think about it. This is the league, and we work for the league as freelancers, and so they're gonna put out what promotes the league and what's best for the company. And there's a lot in the archive I'm sure they'll never be seen, which is fine. And that's the trust that you have with the players, right?
Yeah.
So they agree to put on a microphone. Why would you turn your back and try and throw out their dirty laundry? Like, so yes, there's tons of goods and tons of bads, but I mean, this last season, Matthew Stafford just had, of course, an MVP season, and he's mic'd up. I forget what week it was, but we're at SoFi. And he has a game-winning touchdown essentially against the Colts, and he's mic'd up. So now it's like, where do I go on a game-winning drive when the quarterback's mic'd up and I'm on the field? What's the best place to be? So I'm like, well, these are things you have in your head. Sometimes you'll bounce ideas off your sound person too. But I went downfield a little bit, kind of near the corner of the bench. And so he's way down near the goal line on the other side. He throws a ball, and I'm just going to be on him. He throws a ball right to me. And I'm like, oh. And this is a split-second decision to say, do you go with the ball, even though he's mic'd up? Do you go with the ball and get the catch? It's a game-winning touchdown. Or do you stay on him? But I'm going to get blocked. I know I'm going to get blocked because these guys I'm right next to the bench, and they're going to come running towards the dude. So I follow the ball. Like, just instinct kicked in, and I follow the ball. Boom, catches right in front of me, and he runs right past me, and then I get blocked by everybody. And then Stafford comes running around back towards me. I can't see anything because I'm on a hi-hat. Luckily, when you have a high caliber person like that mic'd up, usually you're double shooting him. So someone's in the stands. So they have his angle when he comes running around, just going crazy. That's one that is recently memorable from the mic'd up stuff. And then there's a Kaepernick shot from like 2012 against the Packers. He had a 60-yard run. He just torched the Packers in a divisional playoff game. And I was the only one downfield for his 60-yard run right to me, kisses his bicep right in front of me. And that was on film, 48 frames. And
wow.
So that's probably my most memorable like playoff like shot. And then anything with Stafford, it's a treat to shoot, and be with.
Okay, and talk to us about the differences between shooting film and digital. And when you guys started shooting digital, was it kind of like going from driving in a manual car to an automatic, and you're like, oh, dude, we have a little bit more room for error here? Yes,
it's night and day. But you get so used to shooting film, and so what NFL Films did, they flew us all freelancers out in 2014 and showed us what the future was, and it was the Area Mira. And there was a camera that hadn't even come out yet. They were buying the first like 40 of them off the assembly line in Germany. They were going right to NFL Films because they were switching from film to digital. And it was, so we needed that like orientation because we're so used to this ancient machine to shoot football, and now we're getting this like Ferrari, and we have focus peaking in our eyepiece. Like, what is this? Like the focus peaking alone is worth its weight in gold when you're shooting sports. Like you're doing all manual focus. Like I need to see what's in focus and what's not in focus. And if that little, feedback EVF, focus peaking helps, I love it. I love it. And so that alone sold me on that camera. And of course now we don't have any. They would usually send me 8 rolls of film a game, and if I shot more than that, I was out of film. Like there's no more. So I had to really if I'm in the fourth quarter, I should have at least 2 rolls left. Like I don't want to overshoot because I have a limited supply of film.
And for those who don't know, AKA me, how much time is one roll of film? Like how long can you hit record?
Yes. If you're shooting, let's say 24 frames per second, you can shoot 12 minutes of footage in 400 feet.
Well, you better be locked in.
Now, if you're shooting 48 frames a second, which is what I was traditionally doing, 6 minutes of footage.
Wow.
Per roll. But so every play takes about 8-9 seconds to happen. Then you're not rolling usually on the 40 seconds to lead up to the next play. And so, you can get a couple rolls a quarter. And there was one game I shot 13 rolls of film, and I thought I was going to be done. Like I thought that was the end of my career because I shot too many. It was a playoff game, so they sent extra. and I just kept shooting. And it was a really good playoff game between the Saints and the 49ers. And it's one of those things, I was just waiting for the phone call to be yelled at because I shot too much. But because I think it was a playoff game and it was a really good playoff game, I'm still here today. But those are the things that we would worry about. Like,
Wow.
like how much film do I have? And we would bank film. So if there was a blowout and I could bank and save a half a roll, 200 feet, loader would put it back in the can. We would save it for the next home game at San Francisco or whatever. And now I've got free film to shoot pregame stuff for the next game. And so you're playing this negotiation with the film, and you don't want to be the guy who shoots too much film because you probably won't be shooting for much longer because it's expensive.
What does a roll of film go for?
I think I think you could probably buy a 400-foot roll of film right now for maybe $300-400.
Holy
$200. I don't know.
See, yeah,
That's
expensive.
So that's just your memory card, right?
It's like the hard drives these days, man.
Yeah, dude.
Damn.
And that's just your memory card.
Wow.
So now, and that's a 6-minute memory card. And, and you got to have 8 of those a game.
Wow.
And then you got to process it and develop it and telecine and transfer and put it on an Avid system so a producer can edit it. And so the reason that they told us why they were switching is like the flagship show at that time in 2014 was a show called Inside the NFL. It was on HBO for decades. And then it switched to Showtime. And then Showtime, I think, said, we like that Wednesday spot for something else, so we're going to give you the Tuesday night spot. Well, when you go from a Wednesday night show to a Tuesday night show and you shoot on film and all of your footage is captured on Sundays, and it's all over the country, and so it has to fly back without being X-rayed, and you're losing a whole day of production, of post-production. Yeah. And so that was the tipping point. And they had already been playing with some of the Alexa classics for some of the tripod shooters, and they loved it. And so it wasn't too hard of a switch because we were all shooting Arri film cameras. We switched to Arri digital cameras. They did, yeah.
That is fascinating.
Yeah, it's actually insane to think about you guys having these drum mags and swapping them and not having a card. And that was the way.
And by the way, you shoot a touchdown nowadays is awesome. I just play it back during the TV timeout. Did I get it? Was it sharp? Mm-hmm. Like I can see all that in the moment. I can play it back on my EVF right now. I cannot see it on film.
How heavy is that camera that you use?
It's similar to an Alexa 35 built out. I mean, we're 20 something pounds.
Wow.
You know, it's actually probably lighter than an Alexa 35 because we have so many batteries now on the back because we got to run them for a long time. So, yeah.
And is there anything like focus peaking for film?
No,
you're just raw dot.
So what you're doing, your diopter is really important. So when you get to a camera like this FX6 and if it has an eyepiece, you have that little like plus minus thing on there.
Sure.
So that like helps you focus your eye on the little screen. Well, that's what you're doing on a diopter on a film camera. You're just focusing that to where it looks sharp to your eye on that mirror. Essentially, but it's. If it's dark outside, it's dark in the viewfinder. There's no like putting it to level 20. So Candlestick Park is a very dark stadium. So when you're looking through, like, God, it's dark because I'm shooting at a 5.6.8 on a thing that's going through another adapter. Now the adapter because it's Super 35 is bigger than the adapter we needed back in the film days because we're going from same lens, but we're going from a 2/3 inch lens to a Super 16 millimeter sensor. So still pretty small, but bigger than 2/3. So the light loss wasn't as much, but it was still dark. Like it's still dark to look through a film camera at a nighttime football game.
Is there a shot that haunts you?
Yes. Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Minneapolis Miracle?
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yes. So there's a position that I shoot called the home run cam, and a home run cam was established by NFL Films after James Harrison in Super Bowl 43 intercepted a pass on the goal line, and he ran 101 yards right before halftime.
Yes.
Rumbled and bumbled all the way down, and there was no NFL Films camera on that side. Just so happened, randomly, no one's down there. It happens. It was just the luck of the draw, right? Mm-hmm. And so the next year, the VP said, during this postseason, let's put someone opposite everybody.
Okay.
Called a home run cam. If it's an 80-yard bomb, someone's going to be there. If it's an 80-yard interception, someone's going to be there.
I see.
So you're always opposite. And so I got into that mix a couple years into that. Tim Tebow had a great game against the Steelers, his very first playoff game in Mile High, and he threw an 80-yard bomb. And that was the game. I was shooting a game, but I wasn't shooting home run. The very next week I started shooting home run. And every postseason and Super Bowl since, I pretty much have shot that home run assignment. Hence Minneapolis divisional playoff game, Saints, Vikings. Again, you play this in your mind. Where should I be? When I start to see my colleagues coming towards me, oh, okay. Well, if they're on this side of the field, that means I'm on the wrong side of the field because they're down here. But you also have to know that when they're down there, are they in the end zone or are they just up there by the sidelines? And that's what happened. All of our guys were not really in the right spot for the Minneapolis Miracle per se. And I went to the backside, but you got to play it out in your head. And now I know. Now I know, like, if there was let's say, because the Vikings were driving, they needed to score a touchdown. Even if the Saints picked it off, now I think about it, they would have just dropped to the floor and the game would have been over. They wouldn't have ran it back, and it wouldn't even been that big of a story. So you just got to think ahead and say, what are the implications if I move and something big happens? If a pick or a fumble happens, someone's just going to fall on it usually, and the game's going to be over. But can I be in the spot where a Minneapolis Miracle would come right to her? And it's like the Kaepernick thing. It would have been, I wouldn't even told you the Kaepernick story. I would have told you
That
the
would have been, oh man.
Like the camera might have been put up in there's when you go into NFL Films camera department, there's cameras all up and around that have like captured the immaculate reception and all these cool cameras, and it might have been sticking up there with them. But again, they were so gracious to me to say, hey, like, it's a bummer, but again, no one's telling us what to shoot. I don't have people in my ear like a TV truck. We are on our own out there and we're trying to figure things out. And that's just one that got away from me. But I mean, then the Seahawks beat the Packers. It was a couple years before, but that touchdown came right at me. And so.
Now, is that a situation though, where like the group chat is going off? Or they're
Dom,
like,
you get it?
Did someone get the shot?
I mean, once the game was over, I ran over to the guy that was closest to me who was shooting 60 frames. And I'm looking at it as a mirror. And I'm like, you get it? He goes, I think I got it. So we watched it. And then, of course, as they catches the ball, a ref comes right in front of his frame, which you don't see in the moment. It's so quick.
Tell your brothers I don't like minutes. Refs. Refs, we got beef.
Yeah.
All camera people got beef with the refs, man.
So the ref, like, catches it, but then there's like this moment where the ref and the player are kind of running together, and then you see it go away. But so there's no really, I mean, there's plenty of shots of it from NFL Films because we have top angles, and there's a great mic'd up moment from a player on the bench who like didn't even realize like what's going on. Like, wait, what? The game's over? Like, so there's those moments, and that's why you have so many crews at a game. So you can't put it all on you. And again, you just learn to grow with every game. Even 20 years in, like, I'm still going to learn things week 1 this year that I didn't know. It's constant evolving. Never get settled. Never, rest on your laurels or whatever they say. Like, just keep growing, keep learning. And the Minneapolis Miracle is one of those things where I was devastated. Like, there was no group chat really. It was just like emails from people here and there, because today there would be a group chat if it happened today.
Sure.
But this was 2017. So I mean, you're flying home, you're thinking about it, you're going from Minneapolis to Phoenix to Fresno, like all that. It's in your head. But they call you the next week, and I was in Philadelphia shooting the Eagles go to the Super Bowl in Philadelphia the next week. So
never get too high, never get too
exactly.
low.
Yeah. Exactly.
I can't tell you how many dunks I missed because I was editing, bro. Because I was editing on the phone. Like, see, that's why we miss a lot of shit. I'd be like, that's awesome. Like, I'm never getting that one ever again. You'd miss a lot doing that. Especially because I feel like in basketball, at least, we used to joke that there's like one mega play a game. You can count on it from your squad.
Yes.
And if you miss the mega play, you know it in the moment. You're like, I'm not getting that one back. And nor will we have another one like it.
Or you'd have to go to the TV feed, right?
Yeah. And it's just
it's just not. You don't want to go to the TV feed.
Uh-huh.
I love the TV guys, but it's a different camera system.
Yeah, it's wider.
And it doesn't look as pretty.
Yeah. No,
they're getting better and better. I mean, some of these guys are shooting on, big sensor TV cameras now, but they only use them in certain situations where you got a lot of fall off.
Mm-hmm.
You've brought up something that's interesting. You're a freelancer, but you told us about 80% of the work that you do is with NFL Films. You're still worried about getting called back for like the next game, and I think that any creative freelancer who's working with clients, we always have that worry of, am I doing good enough to continue working with this client? So can you talk to us about that relationship with NFL Films?
Yeah.
And as a freelancer, what have you been able to do throughout your career to ensure that you do get the call back again?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great run. Like I always tell people, it ended tomorrow. I had a heck of a run. 16 Super Bowls, 20 seasons. Like that's Tom Brady's status. Like it's great. And so I always think about it that way. Like if it could end tomorrow. There is no contract. There is no me signing and them agreeing to anything. It is an email on Sunday night. Hey, can you go to Seattle next week? And then that Sunday, hey, can you go to Minneapolis? Like
Wow.
there's no, hey, you're locked in for 22 weeks this year. Nope. Like it could end tomorrow. And knowing that is just something you live with. That's okay. Like I've had a great run if it ends, whatever. I don't want it to end because it's so fun. I always say if I won the lottery, like I'll still do it. I'll have my own PJ and I'll get there myself. But it's a great, it's like a passion.
Yeah.
And I think the longevity comes from because I get a lot of DMs from people that want to do what I do, which is great. And I'm happy to talk to anybody about what my path. Everybody's path is different. But I know how many people want what we do. Like, and so there's a pressure there to like, hey, I still got to be on top of my game. And I think it really boils down to being a likable person. Like shooting aside, like, are we cool to hang out? We're going to be in a football game. We're going to travel together. We're going to do a lot of things together. And am I pleasant to be around? And because we've all been places where people aren't pleasant to be around and they're not around for a long time. And so when people can like speak highly of you in the rooms that you're not in, you keep getting calls. And so that's year after year, you just meet more and more producers, directors that can speak your name in rooms that you're not in, and you keep getting calls. And it's not about being the world's best shooter, because I am far from that. It is about doing the job, early is on time is late is it unacceptable. Like just the common things that would go into being good at any job that you have. Do that, and then, give them what they want on the footage side, and you'll keep working,
Yeah.
It's been the advice that many people have said sitting in that chair is not that they're not necessarily the best of what they do, but they're awesome to be around and they do the damn job really well. And that seems to be a theme from the last.
Those are the people that I surround myself with.
3 months of folks.
When you surround yourself with people, like-minded people like that, like it permeates, and then you keep working together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's refreshing also to hear it from someone who's working with arguably the biggest brand in the world, if not one of.
Yeah.
That yes, you need to be good at your job, but there's a lot of people who are really good at filming and they could essentially have anyone.
Yes.
So it's like, what is that separating factor? If there are tons of very talented people, do you do the little things, or are you a pleasure to work with?
Mm-hmm. And one thing too, in 2023, I've always had full-time employment. Like up until 2023, that's really when I started freelancing.
Oh, really?
Yes. So leading up to this, it was always having a Monday through Friday. And then Sundays were for the NFL.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
And what was the Monday through Friday job?
You ready?
Yeah.
Apple Store.
No way.
I was a lead creative and a lead genius at the Apple Store in Fresno for 5.5 years. And so I'd literally shoot a Super Bowl and I'd come back to work at the Apple Store.
No, that is unreal.
Dude, the Apple Store is unmatched. Like we had
What?
like the amount of creativity that existed in Apple stores in the mid 2000s. I wasn't even the most talented person at the Apple Store. And I'm shooting, like these girls are just so great at creativity. And that's what Apple did, is bring people together that love their products. And guess who it was? It's people who are really good at being creative. And so I love that job. It was at a mall. It kind of sucked to work on, major holidays, but we made do with what we had. It was great benefits, great pay. And so I left there in 2013. And then I went to work for a small manufacturing company that manufactured 4x4 parts for Jeeps and Toyotas as like marketing video person. Then I left there in 2015 to work for Fresno State. And when I worked at Fresno State, there's the athletic side, which is what you're familiar with at Oregon, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's the university side. And when I looked at those two options, I saw that the university side was paying a lot better. And when I worked for the university, and when I worked on the university side, I didn't have to travel and cover 21 athletic events. Like, so I worked for Fresno State for 6.5 years, and then all the while shooting football. And then leaving Fresno State 2021 to go be a senior DP at T-Mobile at their headquarters in Seattle. Moved my whole family up to Seattle. Worked. Essentially, I was the CEO's cinematographer. If the CEO had to get on camera for MSNBC, we had TV studios that I needed to outfit and get it ready, and we could just flip a switch and he'd be on TV and he'd look pretty. That was for the whole senior leadership team. So imagine your C-suite executives just have a DP, and that's who I was, making them look good on Zoom calls. And so you could see, like, what I'm used to shooting is run and gun football. And now I switched to a studio environment, and I was like, this isn't that fun. But I just moved my whole family to Seattle, and it's Seattle, beautiful, but it rains a lot. I'm a California guy. And so the sun was calling. And so when I left T-Mobile in 2023, worked with my wife, and I said, let me just try this freelance thing, because all the while I'm telling NFL no a lot. Hey, can you do an interview with this? No, because I'd have to put in vacation time. You work for an organization and you're trying to you're trying to, like, can I call in sick?
Like, I'm devastatingly sick today.
Like, Brayden, you got to get your health in order.
I'm like,
exactly.
Dude, devastatingly sick.
That's random on a Wednesday?
Yeah. Keep getting sick.
Yes.
Coming to work, I'm like, dude, everything's been great. Oh, shit. I mean, I've been so sick.
Yes. So that you play that balance. And so 2023 did the full freelance lifestyle, and have been able to say yes a lot more. And that's when I realized, once you start saying yes more, then they keep calling, because they don't want to keep calling if you keep telling them no.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good for the football season and the Sundays. They know I'm good for that, but it's the off-season stuff, because the amount of projects NFL Films is involved with keeps growing and growing and growing, thankfully. I mean, I've shot WWE events for the NFL. I've shot Netflix. I've shot Amazon Prime stuff. Like, I've shot everything for the NFL, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So they need this wide net of people who they can trust, and they like to call, and who will say yes. And that's where I fall in.
Wow. That's fascinating. And after all these years, you just won your first Emmy.
Yes. Yeah.
What was it for?
Thank you. Yeah. It was for the quarterback series on Netflix, season 2, which was Jared Goff. I think Kirk Cousins was in it again.
How much different was shooting something like that for Netflix versus what you would normally shoot on Sundays?
It's funny in that particular season where I actually just won the Emmy, it was the least involved project I'd ever been a part of. The year before, I had been heavily involved in Netflix Receiver show, which was George Kittle and Deebo Samuel as 49ers. And of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson. They were all part of this show. And because it was a San Francisco team that was involved, I was every week shooting for the show.
And you'd be in their homes and all that stuff.
And then game time, they're miking them up just for the show. So imagine shooting all fall for these shows that debut in July. And I can't talk about shooting Sunday and not seeing it till Wednesday. How about shooting Sunday and not seeing it till July?
Yeah, I don't even remember what I shot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's a whole nother fascinating thing. So I really was really involved in Receiver, but because I got so in the fold with the Netflix NFL Films folks, I knew what they wanted. And so when the quarterback season 2 comes around, we didn't really have any West Coast people on the show, but Jared Goff is a California guy, and he lives down in Manhattan Beach because he used to play for the Rams. And so when he did his interviews in California, that's when they would call me. So it's like, I'm doing second cam on interviews, and we're doing little workout sections that I'm shooting. And that's how you win an Emmy, I guess. So the least I'm involved, the more Emmys I win, I guess. But yeah, no, that was cool, because they've changed the way that they've done the credits, but some shows we work on don't have credits. Like NFL Films Presents, which is a long-standing show, does not have credits. But I will have shots in those shows that win Emmys. But because there's no official credit list, the statue goes to the building, which is fine. This one, they really dove in, and we got a big credit list, because anybody that was involved, and we're listed as cinematographers, even though I'm running just second cam, because that's just the way they classify us as freelancers and people who shoot for them. So yeah, I literally just got the email, like, I saw that we won in May, and then they just sent me an email to, like, order my statue. I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, I guess we got to order the statue. She's like, oh yeah, we're going to put it in the living room, and it'll be that one conversation piece of, like, what's that? Like, oh,
Oh, you didn't know?
Yeah. Yes, I've been heavily involved in some things that just don't win things, but
Yeah.
happy to be recognized.
When you are shooting, these shows, like, are you forming relationships with these players? Like, are you getting to know them on a more personal basis at all? Or is it more so kind of fly on the wall type of vibe?
Yes, and I want to be the fly on the wall. George Kittle will not let you be the fly on the wall. Like he wants to be. He's everybody's friend.
Yeah, he
And
seems like a really cool
he's
guy.
great. And so there's a director for every person on the show.
Mhm.
So if you're George Kittle, you're going to have Jason Weber as your director. Cool. That's your relationship. And then we come in, okay, Dom's available to go do the such and such shoot at the mall, whatever. So I do that and then I leave. But like the director and the main DP, so the show has a main DP who's a staff DP at NFL Films named Phil. And Phil will come up with a look and the lensing. And so once we have all that, and he has his like lookbook we go through, and then we're off and running. And sometimes Phil will come out and sometimes he won't because there's 5 other dudes in the show. And so yes and no. I try not to build relationships because I just want to do my job and I don't want to bug them because if I become part of the story, then we're doing something wrong. But like George is a great guy. Debo is a great guy. Like I've never, there's things I never got to do, but because I was on that show, we're on a private jet with Debo going from San Jose to South Carolina, like crazy things. And we're just sitting 30,000 feet on a private jet.
Winning Emmys.
Yeah. Private jets.
Private jets.
Yeah. It's all
red
part of the
carpets.
job. Yeah.
Wait, what's something that you don't agree with that might be like a standard in sports cinematography land? There's something you can think of that you're like, this bothers me. That I keep seeing people do.
Yeah.
No, or just like a take. I mean, maybe like I notice people shooting like this, and I think that it should be like this or something.
For what we do is such a niche thing, high end cinema gear on a sideline with kind of free reign to do what we want to do. That's a very niche thing. Not a lot of people get to do it. So, some people say, well, I want to start out by, wrangling cables for the TV truck guys and work my way up. But like nowadays with the technology that we have, like you need to get out there and start shooting things, and there's tons of sports to shoot. So maybe it's like, I think the ladder to get where someone like I am has definitely changed. You could go from 0 to 60 real quick if you have the talent. And so that whole old school way of thinking, like, okay, no, you work your way with PA, then you go from second AC to first AC, then you get to camera op. Like that can all change, especially in sports, because it's just, what do you have to show for it? What's your reel look like? What are you shooting on? There's a lot of people that shoot on FX3s and 70 to 200s that can do amazing things. But maybe that's not NFL Films material because of the cameras that we shoot with. So maybe, just the old school mentality of how to get to where you want to be.
What is your relationship with seeing these films? Because you don't actually edit the stuff. You're just filming it.
Yeah.
What is it like for you to see the final pieces come together? Because you don't really get to choose what shots make it. You might have in your head, like, this shot should make it and this shot maybe is like not as strong, whatever.
Yeah.
What is that experience like for you to watch these unbelievable films that NFL puts together?
I mean, sometimes you come off of a game, you're like, God, just well, I didn't have it today. I didn't have it today. And then you watch whatever piece it gets edited into and you're like, oh my God. Then you realize, like, I am not an editor, because I think I edit, I could do a lot of editing. But when I see what they can do with what I gave them, if that was a bad game or a good game, it's like, oh, wow. So they have such a great downstream infrastructure from when we capture it to where it goes to the editing and the producing. Like, it is next level. Like, I mean, they've been doing it for so long. Like, they have the formula to how to make successful television, and they've been doing it for years. Speaking of red carpets, I'd never done a red carpet until the Rise of the 49ers documentary came out on AMC, and they invited the crew to the red carpet. So I got to bring my wife, who never gets to go with me anywhere because I'm always like, some random city, but we got to go to the premiere in San Francisco and to watch your work on a big screen in a movie theater sitting next to like Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. You're like, this is cool, especially growing up a 49er fan.
We made it.
Yes. Yeah. So that was really cool to see it on the big screen.
Yeah. You also brought up the internship, which I'd love for you to talk a little bit about, because you were an intern and then you became, getting to work with NFL films. And you also mentioned, is it Hannah? One of the higher up.
She's the staff, one of the staff. I think there's 7 or 8 staff cinematographers for NFL films. That means they live in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and they go to work there, and they are assigned the Netflix shows or the Prime shows, whatever, as the show DPs.
So I think that's awesome that there's some diversity.
Yeah.
And we've also had Serena on the show, and she's
great 49ers.
Badass.
Yes.
I'd love to hear how the internship was, a little bit more about the program, and how the landscape of, I don't want to say sports filmmaking, but maybe sports filmmaking, but like NFL specifically, how have you seen it change throughout the years of you being 20 years now in the game?
Yeah. I mean, internship was literally the launch pad. I call it my grad school. I didn't go to grad school, but I was an NFL films intern. And that was my launch into what I really wanted to do, as grad school would be, right? You're going to focus on something. And that's what the internship was. Back then it was unpaid. Now, thankfully, they get paid. And each department in the NFL has this. So you can work on Park and Avenue in New York City at the league headquarters, or you can work in Mount Laurel, New Jersey with NFL Films, producers, editors, camera department. And you apply, you get accepted, and you work for a season. You can do fall, spring, summer, whatever works for you. You don't have to be in school. Like, I graduated and I was still an intern.
Sick.
And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And Hannah was a former intern. Most of the people that I shoot with, even at Super Bowls, were former interns. Like, it's the great launch pad for most of our careers, because it gets you in the building. It gets you meeting people. It gets you, that you show off your work ethic, like, front and center. And, the way it's changed, they now have an experience-ship, which is not an internship. It's kind of like a 3-day like expose for female filmmakers. And they bring them out to New Jersey and they show them the ropes. I mean, these are people that are already established in this field of filmmaking, but aren't in sports. And so to try and widen the net of how many people can shoot for NFL films, this is a great opportunity for females to dive in, because, when I started, it was a bunch of old dudes with white hair. Like, we need to change that. And I think the NFL saw that and they're taking it and spearheading it. And I think it's awesome, especially being the father of 3 daughters. Like, I don't know if they're going to want to do what I do, but avenues like that experience-ship is one of those cool things that maybe they can go into one day.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. What if a young filmmaker is listening to this right now? Like, what does practical advice next 12 months look like to just really succeed at having like a really awesome reel to show for it?
Yeah, I think it's access. Sometimes, you have a local high school team that you have, maybe the coach. If you got access somewhere, take advantage of that access, because the worst is trying to go to your local community college or a college or even like University of Oregon, knocking on their door. You're not getting anywhere. They don't need so you. The lower the level, the high school, the junior college, probably the easier it is to get access.
Yeah.
And because that's one thing that we have access. So you can't make your stuff look like us if you can't stand where we stand. If you're only stuck up in the press box, it's not going to get you the reel that you want if you want to do what I do. You got to be on the field. So how do you get on the field? Well, start different levels. So it's all about who you know. If you could really find that head coach of a college and ask for a pass, shoot, and not just football. Like I said, football doesn't happen every day, all day. Like, find those other sports, because it's all about movement and how you follow things. And if you can get that dialed down, you can follow football. The very first really successful NFL films cinematographers were shooting golf. Like, they found them on the golf circuit who could go into a tight golf ball, coming back, landing on the green. If you could follow a golf ball, you can follow football.
That's insane. Yeah.
That's how they found some of those.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball, baby.
Exactly. So yeah, it doesn't matter what you shoot, it's just the reps. I can't emphasize enough. Like if you shoot one game and you think you're ready to go, like it's got to be a process. And of course, individual sports aren't played 12 months out of the year. But if you're doing 12 months, okay, how can I shoot basketball, football, volleyball, golf, whatever?
The golf is crazy. I don't know how they do that because the
Yeah.
golf it's white and it's
White sky.
against white sky. It's kind of blue.
Yeah.
Football's at least got a little bit of contrast.
Exactly.
Bigger ball.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, golf is wild.
Yeah, I shot through my relationships with NFL films. I did shoot DJ Khaled versus Jimmy Fallon in Tahoe a couple years ago. Like they had a little 3-hole playoff. That was my first foray into like golf, and that was wild.
What'd you think of shooting golf?
It's interesting. I mean, it's not for everybody, you know, and I think I like football, but we were there more to like, it was a show that Jimmy was doing, you know, to promote NBC's coverage of the Tahoe Invitational, whatever, you know, like that celebrity golf tournament. So yeah, and we had crazy weather, but it's Lake Tahoe. It was beautiful most of the time. But you're out in the elements in golf. Like
You're just going off the shoulder?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
We had one like big Ronin with an Lex 35 on it, and my buddy Dakota was running that, and then I was just handheld with the Lex 35, and then Scott Phelps was the other DP who was shooting.
Scott Phelps was there?
Yeah, he's the one who hired me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Crazy.
Scott Phelps is an NFL film shooter.
Yeah,
He shoots in the Bay Area.
Yeah, he's got good stuff.
Yes.
As someone who has a wife and kids, how do you think about your career and scheduling now versus maybe when you were in your 20s before you were maybe in a relationship or had kids? And how have you changed the way you've operated as a freelancer or you know, someone who does what we do as a career? How has that changed as someone now who's a little bit older and has a family and kids and wants to spend time with his daughters? We have different seasons of life, and I'm in the season where I love taking the kids to school and picking them up. Like this is the last year that they were all in the same elementary school, and then now we got a junior high 7th grader coming up. But that's really cool to be there. And so if the NFL calls, I usually say yes. If these other projects pop up, I try and figure out, like, am I going to miss something of the kids? Dance recital, play practice, you know, basketball. If I miss something and it's not worth my time, I'm going to stay home. And I can say that now at 44 years old. 22 years old, it's yes. It's building those relationships. But now I've got 20 years of relationship building to then say no, to put my priorities in perspective. And thankfully I have a pretty successful wife at real estate. And so she does her thing and I do my thing, and we try and meet in the middle, and it's all about teamwork, even at the family unit, you know? And so I'm very thankful for having that freedom, because not everybody has that. And when I worked full time at all these other jobs, like, it's tricky. It was trickier to say yes to freelance gigs when you have a full-time job, because you're working 8 to 5. So yeah, it's a balance. And at this season in my career, I enjoy hanging out with the family and then working occasionally. And you have an off season really for the NFL. That's fair.
You know, and so you really utilizing the spring and summer to plan these trips to Los Angeles, go to Universal Studios, Disneyland, wherever they want to go, the beach. And so it's freedom that I have to do. And I love having that freedom.
Better than baseball. Baseball's off in the winter.
Oh, brutal.
I know.
Brutal, dude. Long season, way too long. Need to shorten that, man.
Well, we could talk about basketball too.
Yeah, way too long.
Oh, you think
dude.
that they should shorten basketball season?
Come on.
I mean, 82 games is crazy, bro.
Hard on the body. We should max 22 games. Like, that's max. That's Super Bowl to week 1.
Fair.
22. And you're talking 80?
82 is insane.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Now we're talking sports.
Yeah.
How do they then think about records?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like stats and records.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If they actually listen to us and they shorten it.
Yeah.
That'd be tricky. It would be tricky.
I just think that they get hurt way too often, 82. Like 82 is it's hard on the body. It's hard on the body for the football. Like it's insane.
Oh, football is true.
No, it's crazy. But I'm saying like the basketball guys, their knees and stuff. I mean, if they like want them to have like LeBron level careers,
Yeah.
I think
Have you
got-
seen? Have you seen?
I think you have to figure out a way to shorten it a little bit. But then the owner's like, "Oh,
Well, yeah. Then how do you
well,
pay?
how do we
these
pay them that
salaries?
much?" And it's like a whole. It's
crazy.
It's someone else's problem, but it's definitely something to think about.
Would you travel too, or were you home
Yeah.
too?
Oh yeah. It
You're-
was brutal.
Oh,
Fucking insane.
Dude.
You're just like, we would land in those cities. Some of the time it'd be like 4 a.m. and I'm like, I can't even. I'm just shooting. I'm not playing. I'm like, how the fuck are they gonna play it? They're like, you would wake up.
Yeah.
They would go to film and like so when we'd land at like 4 a.m. or something ridiculous, we wouldn't do shoot around sometimes. But then it's also like, I'm like, damn, I probably would want to shoot around. Like if I was them, I'd be like, can we shoot around? You know. So it'd be like optional sometimes. I'm like, thank God it's optional because then we wouldn't have to go. I would just leave.
Think if you're a player, you just have to remember that you're getting paid
For sure. No.
millions.
You're pampered for sure. But I mean, I'm just thinking about how tired you got to be.
Yeah.
As back-to-backs are crazy. Like I think the back-to-backs are ridiculous. Because I'm like, we would go. Sometimes we'd travel that night, and then you wake up and it's like, oh, we're playing today in Toronto, and we just finished it. We got here at 4. Wow. You know, and
Well, Toronto is also the one NBA team that isn't in the U.S.
yeah,
And
we'd
so
have
you
to go through
deal with,
customs, bro. We'd have to go through
yeah.
customs.
and the NFL ramps up their international play. Like Australia's week 1, Mexico City again. They're going back to their Paris, Germany, Spain.
Like, is that has that always been a thing?
No,
in
it's
the NFL?
definitely ramped up.
new.
It's always been London for the last decade or so.
Uh-huh.
Like 3 or 4 games in London.
But they have
And
crazy fans out there, huh? They love the NFL.
Apparently, I was at the Creator Summit. I met someone from Australia, and he's like, "It sold out so quick.
Wow.
90,000 people.
No way.
90,000." And he's
What
like,
do typical stadiums have?
"You probably. I mean, now they're getting smaller. Like Vegas is only 60,000.
Uh-huh.
Levi's is probably 65. You have what Jerry World that's close to 100 when it's fully maxed out. So you have that 70 to 100 ish. But I feel like they're getting smaller.
Wait, where the Cowboys play? It's called Jerry's World?
No, I could just call it that.
Oh.
It's like-
I
yeah.
thought that was
It's-
I was like, that's
I
hilarious.
think it's still called Cowboy Stadium,
Okay.
presented by AT&T. Or maybe it's called AT&T Stadium.
Interesting.
But yeah, no.
So are you going to be going out? Are you going to be traveling abroad?
I hope. Nothing's official until my butt's on a plane, but I'd really hope to. I think I've bugged the right people to try and get to Australia week 1. I've never been.
Sick.
Oh, wow.
And I'm thinking like California is probably a shorter flight than anybody on the East Coast because that's an additional 5 hours plus the 14
Sure.
to get to Australia. Just
Oh,
send all the
wait.
West Coasters.
Oh yeah, because we go back. We go like over Hawaii, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Now, if you
down.
go, is this let's bring the family and do it? Or is this
I think when you just
Dom's
look
doing
at
a solo trip?
when you look at that long of a flight
Uh-huh.
with three
Three kids.
Yeah, no.
it's a solo trip first.
He
Yeah.
can't even do the flight. I mean, I can't imagine
Who,
him
me?
with 3 kids. Yeah. He gets all restless.
Yes.
When we went to Hong Kong, it was like I had to bring all the toys and shit. The whole thing.
Just put them on, bring the iPad. Yeah.
I tried that. It didn't work. You gotta like have a bag full of stuff. You
So
know?
I will, if I get to go, if I'm lucky enough to go, I will scout it for the family because definitely a country I would love to go to.
Yeah.
Now, also there's a whole thing that I've never dealt with, which is the carnet when you bring expensive equipment
Oh, yeah.
to other
Dude,
countries.
that's sus. Little
you,
sus.
you got to have the serial number and the country of origin for every piece of equipment.
Oh no.
Every
way.
single
Yes.
piece?
Oh, dude,
Oh,
I got a
wow.
great story for you. This is crazy. My business partner gets a call from this agency producer, this production company guy. He goes, "I need a crazy favor. I need you to to deliver a Ronin 2 to Colombia tomorrow." And he goes,
Oh, yeah.
and then I go, "Dude, I don't know how this shit works with they're gonna think you're working there, and that's gonna be a problem."
Uh-huh.
He goes, "I'm gonna say that it's they
You
gave
could
me
be
the
there as a
script.
tourist.
Yeah, to be as a tourist." I go, "But dude, it's a fucking Ronin 2. It's huge. It's a big box.
True.
And it's super heavy."
It's not an RS4.
Yeah, it's tiny. I was like, you could get away with saying like, "Oh, I'm a YouTuber" or something. And I was like, you should say that you're a YouTuber and just see how that goes. He goes to the airport. Then they bring him into their room and they're like, "Yo, like, this is production stuff." He goes, no, YouTuber. We are YouTubers. And they ended up getting it by, and he delivered it to the production 24 hours and skedaddled back
Like
home.
LAX to Colombia.
LAX to Columbia, straight flight. Insane. Yeah, you got it over there. But I was like, this is kind of like you're smuggling stuff.
See, those are when you're 44, you say no to those.
Yeah. He said it, and he's like, "We're going for 24 hours to like deliver this Ronin." I'm like,
Wow.
I don't know how it's gonna work. But when we went to Hong Kong, they didn't give us any trouble. But I mean, we went with a bunch of shit. Like
Okay.
you could have been like, "You guys are working."
Yeah.
Like for sure. We had
I've
trunks.
done
and
that
trunks.
to China. I
Mhm.
did when I worked for the off-road manufacturing company. They had some business in China, and I had to shoot some stuff. But I packed it like I was a tourist. Like I had a before this an FS700, which was a little bit bigger. And I was like, because I was on a tourist visa going to China. I'm like worried, shaking.
Like, we're taking this.
I mean, it wasn't mine, but now if I do go, I'm assuming I'm bringing my own gear and have to figure out all the carnet stuff, which has to be checked in before you leave. Like you have to like check it with U.S. Customs. They say, yes, he's leaving with it and he's landing with it. So then they verify it when you get there. Could take hours. So yeah, international travel is new to me. So hopefully I'll get to do that.
Yeah, you just got to say you're YouTubers, man. They're like, this is $100,000 camera. You're a YouTuber? You're like, I make the craziest vlogs. Check it out. Dom the DP. Look it up. Yeah, you actually do shoot your YouTube shit on the Alexa, though. That's crazy.
Which is nuts.
Because I got rid of the FX3, I was like, might as well just use it, you know?
Do you shoot in the lowest codec?
No, dude, I was playing with like 3.2 Open Gate, which is like ProRes 44444. Like I had never seen my computer struggle so hard. I mean, just an iMac, like, and I was like, never do that again. You know, now I'm going back to HD, you know? Yeah. But OpenGate 3.2 is cool because it's square. And you talk about being able to crop vertically or horizontally. Now we're capturing square, which is ideally for anamorphic lenses and things like that. But it's cool to just capture a 3.2 square and do it how you want it on social. But man, it won't let you downgrade the resolution because you're using the whole sensor. Man, yeah.
This has been so fun. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 211 of the 505 podcast. If you're still here, please hit the subscribe button, drop us a comment, leave us a like. We'll see you guys all next week. Peace.